eventually, I got frustrated. So what I started doing is that I started tracking my analytics. I was like, okay, if it's lower, something seems kind of weird here. So I started tracking everything. Every time a stream ended, I would take a screenshot of how many viewers were there at all times during that stream and what the peak was. And then I would look a couple days later. And I noticed that a couple days later, YouTube was removing 40 to 60% of the viewers. Like from the concurrent viewership. So, for example, let me pull up some screenshots to show you what I mean from my gigantic Twitter thread. So, I have evidence. I'm not just pulling this out of my ass. I have evidence. I promise. Let me find one of the better examples. I'll find the most extreme example because you guys like dramatics. Hello, Astria. Yeah, it's been a rough time for YouTube streamers because of this. Hold on. I'm trying to find my thread talking about it, but I can't find it. Okay. Yes, I have the receipts! Okay, let me pull up the receipts from my most dramatic stream. Okay, so, you guys know I played Lost Soul Aside, right? So there's a lot of layers to whatever's going on here. Restricted mode is crazy, we'll get to that. There's a lot of different things going on, and I don't know what's actually going on, because every time someone thinks they find the cause, they're wrong. And there's stuff proving that that's not the cause. It's not restricted mode. Believe it or not, my restricted videos are performing better than my unrestricted videos. So it's not restricted mode at all that's doing it. In fact, even out of my recent streams, one of the unrestricted ones got less than 500 overall views. And some of my restricted ones have had over 2,000. So it has nothing to do with that. It might contribute, but that's not the main cause. Anyway, so here's my evidence for just one example. So here is the analytics. I'm giving you guys the secrets, even though you can see them while I'm live. So, I do multi-platform streams, Suburb Hermit. So this is just information relevant to the YouTube side. I am also on Twitch. But here's the thing. Yeah, the peek behind the curtain, let's say. So here is my stream of Lost Soul Aside. Peak concurrence was 280. Overall views, 1,183, which is a whole other problem on its own. Because usually when I have this many views and this average view duration, the views would be much higher. But anyway, we'll get to that later. So that's what it told me right after stream, right? And then I go and I check this, which tells me the exact same thing. The peak number of views, which means at one point the highest number was 280 people watching me at once. That's the peak concurrent viewership, the highest number at once. So, the peak was 280. My average was 189. You look at the graph, pretty healthy, pretty surprising. Managed to retain pretty nicely after the raids. That's actually a pretty good achievement because after raids, a lot of people leave. So the fact that people stayed and I had this shape made me happy. I thought, wow, that's a pretty solid stream. Good time. And so this is what happened, right? This is what it told me after the stream. That this was my statistics. You want to know what it told me? A couple days later, the views I had in my Lost Soul Aside stream? A couple days later, it was like, actually, just kidding, bro. You never passed 96 viewers, and also your average was 59. Huh? What do you mean, 59? Nani? What do you mean, 59? Like, no? No? And here's where it gets extra weird. So YouTube has a thing they admit where they're like, okay, if your views drop a few days later, that's because we sort through things like bots and not real views and all that kind of stuff. So, like, I get it, okay. Maybe it's possible that there'd been a few bots that were, like, scraping the internet or something. Like, not hired bots, but, like, you know, bots that find their way in somehow. Because that does happen no matter what on any platform. But I highly doubt that 2/3 of my viewers were bots. Like, are you kidding me? 2/3 of my viewers are not bots. This was taken just a few days apart, but here's where it gets extra wonky, okay? So here's where I'm extra suspicious. One of my theories, and this stream perfectly helped me. So you see the little bumps on the graphs where it suddenly goes up really fast? So those are raids. Those are raids. Usually you'll see a spike and then you'll see it go back down. Those are raids. This time I was lucky. The raids went up, they stayed up. Sometimes that happens. It does happen. And so I thought maybe by tracking I could see what is causing it. Maybe raiders aren't included as viewers ever. But as you can see from these two graphs, raiders are included. The raiders were never cut. I don't know who was erased, but the raiders were never erased. And the proportions around the time of the raids are exactly the same. So it's been cut by 2/3 consistently, all the way across the graph. That's impossible. Like, that's actually impossible. Even if I had some bots watching, I wouldn't have that many watching all the time. Like, I'm gonna be very real with you guys for a moment here. Okay. You see people bot and get, like, thousands of views, right? If I was botting, listen, it would say that there's 4,000 people watching right now. If I was narcissistic enough to bot my streams, I would bot the hell out of my streams. Like, I'm not gonna go halfway. I'm not gonna bot so that it looks like I have 200 or 100 viewers. I'm gonna bot so it looks like I have 2,000 viewers. One, I don't bot, but two, if I did, this still wouldn't make sense. And it's literally telling me that 2/3 of my viewers are bots. I don't think anyone out there is paying that much money on all my streams just to have bots watching me. Like, no one is doing that for that small amount. And it is consistent across every stream. Let me prove it. So that was, as I said, the biggest example, the most obvious. So here is my Metal Gear Solid stream, right? When I was playing the new Metal Gear. This is the normal. For right after, you know, 129 peak, 105 average. Not bad. Not the best for like a day one release, but not bad. But then afterwards, I check it again. Sometimes I use dark mode, sometimes I use light. So sorry about the colors. I checked later, and the same thing happened. It was around half. 69 peak and 51 average. Huh? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And then I have another stream. I tracked it across 3 streams because I only streamed 3 streams while the tracking and then I lost my voice. Rest assured, I'm tracking after today's stream. I am tracking after this. If you're here, you can help me with the engagement too in case it makes a difference. Go in chat, type, I am here! I am here! I am here! We all become Marion. I mean, if you don't want to, if you want to lurk, that's also fine. But if you want to help, just in case, boost the engagement. We'll see if there's a random spike at this moment. I will check. 23 minutes and 2 seconds. We'll check if there was a boost. A boost in the viewers from people engaging. Estrella, don't pee on my stream! But, yeah. Long story short, this doesn't add up to me. Like, I don't know. Uh-oh. Hold on. Okay, I'm good. Both my monitors flash black. I think there's like a malicious NVIDIA update. Because I've had this happen before, and it turned out there was a bad update that a lot of people were complaining about. I should still be here. I should be back. It's still up? Yeah. YouTube is trying to censor me! YouTube, I need to hydrate. It wasn't my internet. My entire PC froze. I couldn't click anything, and both my monitors flashed black. Hold on, let me set up an emergency failsafe in case this happens again. I'm setting up a failsafe. YouTube won't stop me. I'm setting up a secret backup stream. And if you guys suddenly if the stream suddenly ends, you're gonna get raided into an emergency backup stream. You'll know that YouTube tried to end me. Something went wrong. YouTube decided that I know too much. So I set it up. It should go into the emergency backup. If it goes into the emergency backup, I'm restarting my PC and I'll be back as soon as I can, okay? Let people know in chat if that happens. It knocked out Twitch for a second there. Yeah, that's because it was my entire PC. If that happens, Twitch is also gonna die. Anyway, I had a third example. This stream is a lot lower because it was only a 1 hour stream. So I was wondering if it could relate to stream time. I tested in a lot of different ways. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Okay. So here is the original. Right after stream, 107 views, 87 concurrent on average. And then a couple days later, it told me I had 51 people watching! Or 42 on average. Yay! So, as you can see, there's something kind of weird going on because that doesn't make any sense. Like, as I said, there's no way that consistently my streams would have over 50% bots. If my streams were over 50% bots, I would have 4,000 viewers. I would go all the way if I decided to bot. My dudes, like, this is weird as hell, honestly. And I made a Twitter thread just documenting this. I'm pulling it up a little bit because I wanted to show it. Based on how much interaction it got too, you can really tell that I'm not the only one that's hurting right now or angry. Okay, so oh, that is mirrored. Let me check that first. Hold on. Also, sorry for not being able to say hi to everybody as easily today. I am popping off. I need to scream. I need to go off in case I lose my voice. Please understand. Hello, how are you? And Astoria, thank you for the super. But Pam, we're not real. Is that the problem all along? You guys are the bots? It's really good AI chatbots so I can feel better about myself? Aw, man. I've been streaming to 0 all this time. Thank you, Tenkiba. Boss needs something for relaxing after all the evil YouTube things. Thank you for the music box. Night in the Broom. One of the lovely songs. After getting my message, the creators got together and said something's up. That's the thing. After I posted about it, everyone started responding and talking about our own experiences. And that's why I want to look at some of the answers, because the reality is people have been theorizing different things. I can prove and disprove different theories. And maybe you guys can give me your input as well. Ignore all the Windows error noises. I was being a dumbass. Tempo, thank you for 46 months. I am a bot. Screw you. So, thank you for the gift. For anyone who hasn't seen it before, there is a music box. Night in the Broom. I'll drop the link in both chats as well so you guys can find it if you're interested in grabbing one, because they're on sale right now, I believe. No, they're not on sale, but they're on sale. Like, they're for a rerun. They've been gone for a while. Okay. So, let's go over my thread a little bit, shall we? Okay. So here is my thread that I made before disappearing. Let's take a look at it for a little while. As you can see, traction. Other people have noticed that something weird is going on with YouTube. I'm calling you out on your own website right now, by the way. Maybe I shouldn't draw their attention to that fact, actually. Neil, look away, it's fine. Anyway, yeah, it's been doing numbers because I'm not the only one that noticed. Evan, thank you for 5 months. I am human, beep boop. That sounds very convincing. So, as I said, I was scared to talk about this for a long time because I thought that maybe it was a skill issue on my part. And even when I realized it wasn't, I started collecting evidence because here's the thing, it could have been a skill issue on my part still. And I didn't feel like getting a bunch of YouTube comments coming in and being like, just get good. You suck, bitch. You're a loser. That's why no one watches you. Because you know how the internet is, especially these days. I didn't want to open the floodgates to the people who just think I'm being a narcissist. Because no, it's actually weird. It's actually weird. So that's why I have evidence. And there's a bunch of theories as to why. I quote retweeted this post because it was just talking about the sudden drop in viewership and believing that the algorithm is partially to blame. I quote retweeted this just because I wanted to piggyback off someone else saying that, hey, their viewership has been low. My thread has nothing to do with membership videos at all. So, a huge amount of people in the replies have already failed the can you read test because I made a long thread and a bunch of them quote retweeted or responded to me being like, yeah, membership videos are ruining YouTube. And I'm like, damn, you really didn't read a single tweet that I added, did you? Because I didn't talk about membership streams once. My evidence was other stuff. But, it's everything affecting everyone differently. That's why I think there's more to it than it looks like on the surface in general. But anyway, that is one theory that people have been talking about. And I have a reason why I don't think this is it. So Linus Tech Tips talked about it being like a bunch of membership videos are being recommended everywhere. And because people can't actually click or watch those because they're not members, YouTube algorithm takes that as, oh, this person isn't going to ever be interested in this person's content and never recommends it again. I think this is false. I don't think it's the main cause of the drop in numbers, specifically because my CCV drops days later. So clearly, people are still finding my content. They're still clicking it. They're still finding it. But views are tanking, despite the same amount of people, as always, still being here. And to explain this a bit more, too, wait, let me see if I can grab some new evidence real quick. I might be able to prove exactly what I wanted to say. I'm not going to be able to find it too easily, because the problem is this happens, like, let me put it this way. VODs perform a lot less than stream, so these stats are going to be skewed a little bit by the end of it. Okay. I'm taking some new statistics to show you guys. Okay. This is gonna take a while to set up, but it'll be worth it. So this is Nikkei. This is the, hold on. This is Nikkei. This is the absolute event. At this point, a long time later, right? It says the average view duration was 15 minutes. And the concurrent viewers, it's telling me the highest was 69 and the average was 57. The VOD total views is right now standing at 1,251. So I'm gonna add that in text so that we can see it. I'm too lazy to make the text fancy. 1,251. So you can see the stats that relates to, right? Let me go and pick up the last Nikkei stream I did before I noticed the drastic drops happening. So it'll also be a Nikkei event. Story 2, from, this one should be good. So story 2 from Boom the Ghost. It's gonna be hard to tell these stats exactly because the reality is people watch the VOD after, so that can skew numbers a little bit and make it higher. But I promise you that on the day, these two still were drastically different, just like this, okay? So, hold on. It takes me a bit, as I said, to set it up. So this is Boom the Ghost. The stats are very, very similar in terms of like the average view duration, but the CCV is much higher at 188 and the low being, like the average being around 126, which is my normal amount for Nikkei. That's usually what I get for Nikkei. And that's fine. That's totally fine. Had a nice shape that time, all good. You can tell when I finished the event because people stopped caring. And the average view duration, 17 minutes. 2 minutes more, not that big of a deal. And the total views on this VOD are 3,566. The day I finished the absolute event, the peak and average it was showing me at the time before it nerfed them were both over 100. So on the day, it looked very similar. The average view duration and the concurrent viewers had the same ratio. So the reality is they should have had around, on the day at least, they should have had the same-ish, like maybe give or take 500. They should have had the same-ish number of VOD views. Because at that time, let me put it this way. So the concurrent, basically your total views is going to be affected by your average view duration and your concurrent viewership. But if they're the same, the views should remain roughly around the same. Because if neither of them change, it means the exact same amount of people are watching for the exact same amount of time. The views should be the same. And if the view duration goes down, that means people aren't watching as long. If the view duration goes up, it means people are watching longer. If the CCV stays exactly the same and the views go down, that's possible. Because it could be just a few people, but they're watching really long. Or it could be a lot of people, but they watch for like 1 minute. So then you'll have really high views, but a low concurrent. But if the ratio is the same, the views should be around the same. And the fact that they weren't was really suspicious to me. And that's why I started looking into it. And I don't know if that made any sense, me trying to explain it, but I hope you guys understand. The math is not mathing. The math is not mathing, and I don't like it. So yeah, anyway, back to my Twitter thread. Where'd that? Oh shoot. There, it killed the wrong thing. Yeah. So anyway, Linus Tech Tip's theory was that it was being caused because of membership stuff being recommended. As I said, I don't think that's true because on the day the concurrent is still higher, not as high as it used to be, which could be where membership or restricted come into play, but it was still okay. Like in my Lost Soul Aside stream, for example. Actually, that might be a better example. Yeah. My Lost Soul Aside one had the usual ratio, but the views were drastically lower. That would have easily been a 2,000 or 3,000 before. Okay, so anyway, if you notice issues, you're probably not alone. Let me go through my thread and explain to you guys, because a lot of people didn't actually read it. So, I'll tell you, how do you become a member? There should be like a little money icon looking thing in chat. It is paid, unfortunately. Anyway. So, let's see. I haven't had a video upload, so this is only related to streaming VODs. As I said, I haven't had a video upload. I didn't upload anything. I'm commenting on streams. For videos, maybe restricted has more effect. I don't know. Since my shorts seem to be performing as usual, I released shorts all last week. They did really well, actually, better than usual. By the way, if you've been enjoying the shorts, I have picked up a hobby of editing shorts out of Twitch and YouTube clips. I'm getting better at looking at my clips, so I would really appreciate if you see a moment that's like 1 minute, a conversation that's interesting or something funny, feel free to clip it on YouTube or on Twitch. If you clip it on YouTube, I'll only see it if you post it on Discord, but if you clip it on Twitch, I'll see it automatically. And I'm going to be trying to get better at editing them into shorts, so I really would appreciate if you share any that you think would make good shorts, and I'll credit as well. I am going to be leaving Twitch VODs up to make it a little bit easier, but only until the next day I stream, and then I'll delete them, so just give it a little bit of time. I would prefer VODs on YouTube, though, for people who, like, if they're like, which one's better? YouTube. Numbers matter a bit more there in terms of VODs. In terms of while live, though, either is okay. Let me see. Oh, Clippies, do you think you can find user clips on YouTube that way? I'll have to look into it, Haru. Thank you. Just YouTube only? No, Twitch. Don't post them on Twitter. It'll get lost. If you can't post on Discord, if you can take it on YouTube only, I can't promise I'll find it, but I still appreciate the effort. Twitch, I'll see either way. That is one theory, Grass Spirit, that I've seen. But here's the thing that makes it even crazier. YouTube pay scale is based on views, so they have an incentive to drop the count. In terms of monetization, obviously I can't give you actual amounts, but I've seen a number of other people say this too. The ratio for ad revenue is the same. Despite the drop in views, we're getting the same amount of ad revenue. Doesn't that, like, literally imply that the same amount of people are watching? Then what are you doing? So that's the thing, though, Justifan, they're not even saving money because the ad revenue is the same. But creators are going to get hurt. Here's the thing, I am Corpo. There's a lot of other VTubers who are Corpo. For us Corpo girlies, guess what? As much as we don't want them to matter, numbers matter if you're part of a company. Because, you know, when you're in a company, stonks are kind of a thing that you have to think about. If you're in a company, it's not just, I'm going to do whatever I want and that's that. You have to care about some things. For a lot of people in companies, number go down, very scary, very bad. Like, for all we know, some corpos could be, like, taking action or being like, hey, you can't do this anymore. You have to do this now instead. Or, hey, maybe we can't invest in you anymore because your numbers dropped by half and you're no good anymore. Like, I don't know what people could be saying. It's a disaster. The other thing is sponsorships, even for indies. Sponsors very often pay based on your concurrent viewership. They'll give different streamers different rates based on the exposure they can get through those streams, usually calculated by concurrent viewership because they care more about that than VODs. If YouTube is nerfing your concurrent viewership and then it's like, hey, show us a screenshot of your concurrent viewership so that we can calculate what to pay you for a sponsorship, and then your numbers are half, you are making half the money you should be making from sponsored stuff. That's so wrong. That's genuinely so wrong. Exactly. If your numbers go down and you have low CCV, your sponsorships are destroyed. Like, this is actually, unless you're doing it as a hobby and the money doesn't mean anything to you, this is devastating for a lot of people. Like, it's actually horrific. And exactly, because we don't have transparency from YouTube, that's why a bunch of people like me took matters into our own hands and started investigating, because we're like, bro, you're not giving us anything. So it's like, okay, fine, we'll figure it out ourselves then. So I'm sorry if I feel like the guy just like pointing at all the papers on the wall. Like I don't know who or what it is, the origin. I just know it as like the conspiracy theory guy. I kind of feel like that, but listen, if YouTube's not giving us answers, what else can we do? Our jobs are on the lines here. Like, all we can do is try to figure it out and play around it because we can't have this happen. And at least if we can't stop it, like, maybe we can figure it out and explain to people. It's like, hey, before you cut my monies, can you, like, understand that this is not my fault? That's all we can do. So, I'm sorry that the stream, we're still gonna watch game trailers and stuff, don't worry. I'm sorry that, like, this is gonna be a lot of, like, conspiracy theory crashing out. It might even not be my only stream about this week if we make any further discoveries, but you have to understand. A lot of it, I think, does have to do with AI, Heisenberg. There's a lot of different AI theories, but anyway, we're gonna keep digging. I'm gonna keep reading my thread. Okay. So, here are my main issues every stream. Drastically lower VOD views despite CCV average watch time being the same as before. I showed you guys images to explain why that shouldn't be happening and prove that it is happening. And a few days later, slashing my reported CCV by around 40 to 60% compared to numbers seen during and right after stream. You think you've heard that when streamers bot themselves, the way they make the viewers look legit is by raiding into the channel with the bots? Oh. I can see that. That's sneaky. I can see that being an incentive to remove raid views, but I already proved that raid views aren't removed. I have hard evidence that raid views are counted. So, I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't have to do with the raids. I showed evidence earlier that it's not counting raids. I had 2 images. One was before the slash, 2 was after the slash. The raids were still showing with the exact same ratio in both streams. Because that's one thing I was wondering too. Because I tend to raid myself when I take a break and stuff, so I was like, I wonder if raids have any, like, say in this, but didn't seem to be the case. Okay, now, the first part already doesn't make sense. If your overall views are going down, there's no way your CCV to average watch time ratio would be exactly the same. It means either less people are watching at a time, which would lower CCV, or more people watching for shorter amounts of time, which would mean a lower average watch time. If so, okay, so if that's not the culprit, then what the heck is happening? I have noticed lower CCV than usual. As I said, my overall views have dropped maybe by around like 30%, but I just assumed that was a skill issue and that I'm shit. I'm gonna be really honest, it actually made me pretty depressed. Like, I was beating myself up every day about it, thinking like, man, I really lost it as a streamer. I don't know what works anymore. I'm no good. Everyone hates me. It was to the point where at least one day I was like, should I just graduate? Like, I don't want to watch it keep going down. And then I decided to keep looking, but and yeah, anyway, that is maybe a point. Like, maybe it goes down to maybe it's similar to like what it does for shorts. It shows you an unengaged and an engaged. But the problem is, if you differentiate CCV and engaged CCV to tell how many people are watching, you're disregarding lurkers, which makes up a huge percentage of anyone's viewer base. Lurkers are valuable. Lurkers, you don't have to chat. I love you. Anyway, you can help with engagement though by liking the stream still if you want to lurk, but you shouldn't have to. Like, it's so annoying. It's not counting only the people that interacted after the raid. Let me show you a bit more. Let me pull up that evidence one more time. Actually, I'm too lazy. We'll get to it. So, it's the exact same ratio, Estrella. So that's like the people who came in, everybody. And then the drop still has the exact same ratios. So it's dropping by around 40 to 60%, but it's the exact same ratios. If it was only counting the engaged viewers, the bumps would be much smaller. It all comes down to math and what the graph looks like. It doesn't make sense. Every single raider would have to be engaged for that to be the case. And that's not gonna happen. Ever. So, yeah. That's the best way to explain it. Also, Liz, thank you so much for the super. I can't find a way to join. Maybe you can on mobile, so you just send this. I appreciate the super. Thank you. I don't know why, unfortunately. No, Astria, it's... I think, wasn't it YouTube or someone else who commented with that? The 30% drop is the college kids going back to school. I thought that could be part of it at first, but I don't think it's necessarily the case. And if it is, that's fine. That's fine. See, that's partly what I was thinking too. I was thinking maybe it's me, maybe it's back to school. Also, thank you for this super. You don't have to give me money though. I thought maybe it was like something like that. But then I noticed a lot of other people saying they had drastic drops. Like, I don't think I've seen every single person have so many drops at the same time. And that's why we've been looking into it and trying to figure it out. Also, RJC, thank you for the super. Convinced that there's some mad spaghetti code behind the scenes. Also, good to see you back to full vocal. I wouldn't say full. Enough that I think I'm okay to stream as long as I don't talk at all off stream. I mean, like, literally the entire week, if I'm not streaming, I ain't talking. That way I should be able to tough out streams. I'm not having coughing fits while talking. And that's the main thing that stopped me last time I wanted to try. If I notice it getting worse again, though, I will have to stop again. Also, I'm not done reading your super, I'm sorry. I shall sacrifice... Here's the thing, though, I can do this, which is a good sign. If I had, like, vocal cord nodes or something, somewhere along that stretch, you would hear major issues, or it would cut off. And that's what was happening when I decided to take a full week off. I was going like, oh! And somewhere along that line, my voice cut off entirely. And I was like, oh no. That could be a sign I was getting close to permanent vocal damage. So I was like, hell no. And I stopped everything. I shall sacrifice 12 orphans to the blood gods for your voice. I mean, I don't think that shoving orphans down my throat is gonna, like, help. Like, I know drinking their blood in theory could, but, that's okay. You don't have to sacrifice them. Instead, you can sacrifice whatever AI is messing with YouTube, please. Also, thank you so much, Earl, for the hostages. Thank you for the hostages. Oh my god, one went to Australia. Nice. Thank you. And Mike VC, thank you for the hostage as well. But yeah. It's annoying. Could it be that a third or so of all viewers are being designated by YouTube as non-people? That's what I'm wondering, but it's like how and why. Trying to figure out the cause is why I'm like going insane. What's a solid Kano? Thank you for the super. Hey fam, say hi. I'm texting you from work. We're in the middle of a board meeting. Don't text me during work. You're gonna get fired. If you're gonna get fired, let me fire you, not your day job. You remember an interview with a YouTube CEO that they were trying to turn YouTube into cable? Can you share that on Discord if you're on Discord, Roberto, and if you still know where it is? I'm curious to see that. I wonder. But anyway. Oh, Lazar! Your work too now. No! As long as you guys have jobs where it's allowed. If you have jobs where it's not allowed, please don't sneak the Pam stream under the desk. It's not worth it, I promise. You can VOD later. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Mike VC, thank you for the second hostage! Okay. I assumed that was on my part until I talked to a number of creators and almost everyone has noticed drastically lower CCV compared to usual. However, even for streams that reach my usual CCV, The above, even same CCV watch time still holds true. Remember, when I showed you the 2 Nikkei VODs, one had less than half the views despite the stats being really similar. So even if some are lower, the ones that meet or even pass my usual CCV, which should have been Lost Souls aside, still have drastically lower views. Anything with the amount of CCV and average view time that Lost Soul aside had should have easily been 2,000 to 3,000. It never even passed 1,300. Hold on, I have hiccups. It's not long enough. Okay. So here's the thing. I tried encouraging likes and chatting in case engagement made a difference, but it didn't seem to change anything. That's why I said we'll mess around in case. But even the stream where I got you guys, I think it was an unboxing, I got you guys to like it a bunch, and it didn't change anything. The same thing happened. Half the views were killed. It was after that stream I decided to start tracking entirely and like taking screenshots for evidence. Hold on. But just in case. Wait. Okay. Just in case engagement is good, I've made you a poll on YouTube. There you go, have fun. So I tried encouraging things like chatting in case engagement made a difference, but it didn't seem to change anything even when I got many more likes on one stream versus another. People are assuming maybe age verification, people using alternate sources to watch. I have no idea. The thing is, I would assume that for like age verification or people using alternate sources, it would have never caught them as a view in the first place, right? They should have never showed up. They wouldn't cut them later. That's why I don't think maybe it doesn't count towards the views, but it does towards the CCV. Like, I don't know. But I don't have any evidence it's one or the other, but I know that's definitely why a lot of people are, like, suspicious. Also, thank you for the super. Brain is eepy, need to do the sleepy 4 times, sir, please sleep. Anyway. I wondered if maybe it was relating to raids. Here's the one where I have the evidence. So I tracked CCV on a stream that got big raids. To my surprise, the numbers were slashed more than ever, around 2/3. But the slashing seemed to have no relation whatsoever to the raids. Reminder, in case you haven't seen it earlier. Let me pull up these images again so I can show them full. Hold on. So I don't want to zoom in here because it'll mess with my stream, but I can show you the ones I tracked again. So this is the same stream, right? This is the graph. I'm gonna zoom in on the raids. Do you see what I mean? The graph is like, obviously there's some differences in like the little bumps and stuff, but the raid bumps themselves are like the same ratios. They don't look drastically different at all. If raiders weren't counted as views, these should be drastically different looking. They shouldn't look mostly the same. And this is the original amount of views. Peak was 280. Average 189. The exact same stream. A few days later, YouTube's trying to tell me the peak was 96 and the average is 59. Like, no. No. Also, the red hair girls, thank you for the super. This unit is not a bot and finds this insinuation offensive. This unit's data suggests that correction may be needed. The correction is I unplug you. You're the bot. I unplug you. I can prove you're not a bot. If you die, then you were human. Yay! But yeah, they're the same picture, but with a percentage cut. There's some subtle differences. There are some subtle differences. I can acknowledge that. But overall, the graph's pretty much the same. That's why there's something wrong. Anyway. So, you can see the exact same bumps when raiders came in. If raiders were erased, these shouldn't show up at all, or at least would have changed if it was engaged raiders. First image is immediately after stream. Second is a few days later. On a side note, this CCV and watch time prior would have easily been 1.5 to 2K and never even passed 1.5. So, removing raiders has been ruled out. Or at least, the amount that it has on day 1 versus later. The shape isn't completely the same, as I acknowledged, because the number dips drastically after the raids. But you can still see the bumps from the raids, so it is counting incoming raiders as legitimate viewers. Do people stop being counted if they aren't active after a certain amount of time, if they don't chat? I have no idea. Like, maybe that's it. I don't know. Maybe it counts right away as a viewer, but then you think the numbers would still be drastically different. It's like a random idea. I don't know if it's true. Some drop after raids is expected, so that wouldn't surprise me, but the first graph shows a much straighter line. The parts removed are during the steady periods in the second graph. The slashing happened across multiple streams. I showed you these earlier, so I'm not pulling them up again. And if you stream on YouTube, I urge you to check analytics immediately after stream versus a few days later. I highly recommend checking your engagement tab. Here's another example. It dropped by half. And another example. It dropped by half. And another example. It dropped by half. Big surprise. I tracked all of my streams last week, which was 2 weeks ago now, and the same thing kept happening. Obviously, I'm not botting. As I said, if I was, I'd have like 4,000 viewers. So it's not bots. Encouraging people to interact with the stream seems to change nothing, because even if they do, the numbers are nerfed. It doesn't seem to be caused by raids because the graph shape stays the same once the views are removed. VOD views also seem to suffer for some reason overall, and I still haven't figured out why. Like, as I said, even before the CCV is nerfed, the VOD views are much lower than usual. Does anyone know what the hell is happening? And then I just mentioned, like, to a lot of other people feeling down, it's probably not you. I had a lot of responses who didn't read my thread and just commented being like, yeah, membership streams are evil. And I'm like, bro, you didn't read anything I said, because that's not what I'm talking about. I took some screenshots of some highlighted points that I wanted to talk about. I want to have a dumpling first. I'm starving. Can you guys give me a second to eat? What if you stop chatting at a certain time? I actually don't think it's related to chat, because I just realized you can turn chat off entirely. So that wouldn't make sense. Anyway, YouTube sent a reply to my Twitter thread. You guys want to know? You want to know what YouTube responded to me? I just told you exactly what I typed, right? So you know all of my messages? You want to know what YouTube responded? Let me screenshot it for you. Just how helpful YouTube was. To clarify, as intended, posting members-only videos does not impact channel performance on YouTube. We do understand not everyone may want to see members-only content, and we're looking into ways to separate members-only content from other videos on a channel. They didn't even read my thread. The clanker said scale issue. They did. The clanker said scale issue. Bro, that's no. I didn't even call out member content. I found out like I However, I've also seen that exact answer, word for word, on other people's posts. So, yeah. It's just a factory reply that's either sent to everyone or a bot response. I'm not sure which. But anyway. I bought some screenshots. I bought some screenshots, guys. I took some screenshots to prove like a bunch of theories. We can talk about them, theorize and stuff for a little bit. Wait. The YouTube responding to YouTube. Didn't you guys post it on Discord? I didn't have time to read in detail, but I saw it. Hold on, let me find that. That was really funny. Come on. Let me try to find it. Hold on. Was it in... Oh, thank you, Icebox, for the ping. Okay, so... this is... Just in case you guys are wondering how competent the Team YouTube bot channel is, what are you watching most this fall? Football, soccer, basketball, TV? Team YouTube bot replies, appreciate the info, we'll pass this along. In the meantime, we recommend getting in touch with our live support team. Just call up the live support team and be like, Ayo, do you watch football, soccer, basketball, or TV? This is just absolute evidence that YouTube customer service is completely messed up. Is there even a human involved anywhere? I don't know, man. I really don't. I had a copyright claim a while back that was fraudulently filed, right? And I contacted them being like, here's evidence that it's fraudulent. Here's why it's not correct. Please take away this copyright strike on my channel. And you know what YouTube said? This copyright strike is legitimate. They didn't even look at it. And you can only appeal once. Yeah, this is the tech. This is it. This is it, PAMployees. This is what they want to replace you with. If your job's talking about replacing you with AI, this is what they want to replace you with. It's so bad. Oh my god. Oh my god. Just, it's so painful. And I got a bunch of screenshots that we can talk about and theorize a bit. I wanted to go off about this because, as I said, it's been really depressing and a lot of us have been hurting. So if I can like half get a joke or content out of it, then good. Because YouTube is screwing me over, man. So kinda also co-retweeted and talked about it. And this isn't actually what I talked about necessarily. I didn't talk about slashing CCV like on stream or VOD numbers, but I did notice after her post I thought about it more and I was like, yeah, they had been a little bit lower. But even when it's the same, everything else is way lower. And I still slash days later. So it has been happening to everybody, unfortunately. It's just a disaster. Genuinely a disaster. And I got a bunch of screenshots trying to like theorize what it might be. Yeah. I had one other thing that I quote retweeted that I'm just gonna pull up the original tweet. It was another theory as to what might be causing it, but I don't think this is true because another VTuber has noticed something very similar to what I did. I think this is happening, but I don't think it's the only cause or necessarily even like all of it. Hold on, I gotta get a screenshot that's big enough to show. They have a problem being too big that they have the bot system in place, but they're at the same time not willing to put the effort to hire people to address the issue when they fail. No, that's the thing. I understand bots being in place, but there should always be a human to contact if the bots don't work. I know that's a lot of work, but the reality is it's not fair to people to lose channels over fraudulent situations. But here's one thing that I saw. Actually, I saw this thanks to your ping, Enva. If you use YouTube, you need to read this. Videos are being hidden and I can prove it. So basically, what this person found is that you have to go to your settings and check if restricted mode is on. If restricted mode is on, a lot of content is not being recommended or shown to you. That is true. Most people have it off by default, but some people have had it on by default. Maybe that's what they mean by AI systems determining if you're a minor. Maybe if it does, it turns it on. I don't know. Mine was off by default, but I did turn it on to experiment. And oh boy. You want to see what happened to my channel when I turned it on to experiment? How many of my streams were left? Let me take a screenshot for you guys. Okay, so when I took a screenshot to experiment, every single one of my streams, like up to this point, I have over 1,000. Other than these ones was removed. So my most recent stream was Hololive, Holo Sanafuda, and my Pokemon card stream, my beach relay. Somehow the bikini karaoke survived. I don't know. And my 3-year anniversary, not even like my 4-year anniversary. Yeah. That's crazy. Doro survived. Doro's too powerful to be nerfed. But yeah, Sound Horizon, the mini version of it survived, which is kind of a surprise. But yeah, if you turn restricted mode on, almost all my stuff is gone. But I don't think that's why views are lower. The main reason, because if you look here, you'll see that my Pokemon TCG streams do very bad. They're not restricted and they do really bad, where some of my restricted streams like Nikkei do my best. So, I don't think restricted mode is the only thing happening, but I'm not gonna say that it's not contributing. Because if it is hiding it from people, that's obviously going to contribute. But it's not and can't be the only factor when all this other stuff is still going. But yeah. That's the other thing. Brandon Snipes, YouTube saying, hey, you can cuss in 5 seconds now. Also, YouTube saying no one can watch your videos now. I don't know if you've noticed. I'm actually trying to hold myself back. I don't know if swearing could be part of it. Because, like, I don't know. If I'm doing, like, I don't want to hold myself back, but... just in case. It's one of those things where I'm like, what if I'm making it worse for myself, you know? It's still gonna slip. I'm not gonna be perfect, but like, I'm trying not to every 2 seconds be like, F you. If I play a rage game, though, it's still gonna happen. Like, I can't hold back. Okay, so I've been taking a number of screenshots for theories. Let's look at some of them and try to think. Just in case changing any of these habits can change anything. So, Uriel Drift had a theory that, according to some folks on the LT subreddit, it seems to be related to people using ad blockers being removed from the view counts. So maybe that's why there's like a 0.5% drop later. I can see that. I can see half the people watching using ad blockers. It is possible that maybe like a number of days later, anyone it detected with ad blocker, it might remove those from the CCV for ad purposes because the ads wouldn't have shown up. I do think that's a possibility. I have no evidence that it's what's happening, but I think it's plausible. And I have mixed feelings here. It really sucks. The reality is YouTube and creators only make money if you buy premium or watch the ads. If you block them, no money is made. I know the ads really suck, and I'm not asking you to watch them. Whatever decisions you make are your own decisions, but it is true that creators and YouTube get less money when you use ad blocker. So I can see them doing that. Why isn't YouTube transparent? That's the thing, we don't know if this is actually the reason. These are all just theories. Until YouTube is transparent, we don't know. So all we can do is speculate. So it is one of those things where if you're using ad blocker, I'm not gonna tell you what to do, but it could be affecting people. It could be part of it. I don't know. Yeah, that's another kicker too, Bren. If your channel is flagged as safe for kids, you don't get ad money anyway. So I don't know what they're doing here. But anyway, it's the reality with like YouTube, just like any other platform. If you want free, you kind of have to deal with ads, because the reality is hosting is expensive, making stuff is expensive. Stuff can't exist for free. It doesn't work like that. Unless someone's sponsoring it and paying for it, it has to be paid for somewhere. And that's why, as much as ads suck, they're kind of a necessary evil sometimes, because there are people who genuinely can't afford a service, and having an option with ads is something. I'm gonna be honest, most services I would take ads over paying if I could save some money. But yeah, so that's one theory, that maybe it could be something related to the ad blocker war. That would make sense, because as I said, I can see around 50% of people watching it, but again, I don't have any evidence. No, you're not wrong. Ads need to be curated better. If they expect us to watch ads, at least make them, like, not so bad. So this one I found kind of weird, too. Like, this small response, it wasn't just CCV. This is something I haven't been watching, but maybe I should be watching. Glitch mentioned a small creator, but a stream had 655. It didn't drop as much, only to 649, but they dropped 10 hours of watch time. 10 hours of watch time obliterated. I haven't even been watching watch time, but maybe I should start tracking it if they're gonna be doing that. Like, that's nuts. How can you just unwatch 10 hours of content? Like, do you know how many things I've seen on the internet that I would love to unsee? Where's this unwatchability coming from, and where can I get it? I want to be able to unwatch things. And then this one was a quote retweet from Kirsha. And it's part of why I made a poll again, but as I said, I did a poll before and I didn't notice any drastic changes. My problem, this one is like, I think the same day. I don't think she checked it multiple days later, but I'll read it again because my memory is bad. Good info in Pam's thread. Add to her findings. The dip in viewership started around August 14th. I did notice that. My first Nikkei stream after August 14th was the worst performing Nikkei stream I've had probably in like over a year. Like, it was really discouraging. And after a few weeks, my mod started running polls at regular intervals since YouTube had changed to an engaged viewer metric on shorts. I did notice that for shorts, but didn't declare it anywhere else. When polls are run by mods, there's a noticeable effect on viewership. So I think with this data, we can assume the engaged viewer metric has been applied to live streams as well. So you notice that, but that's why I'm not so sure. Because remember, the same thing happened with raids. Like, it dropped, but when it dropped, the ratio was still the same for the high points. So that's why I'm not entirely sure, but just in case, if I'm running a stupid amount of polls, please understand. Yeah. Views are still suspiciously lower than they actually are, even with the polls for engagement, but the polls do help. The reason we know the views are lower than they should be is because, as we said, our ad revenue is the same. There's no way our ad revenue would be the same if our views were dropping. That's impossible unless they raised up ad revenue, and we all know they're not gonna do that. Yeah. So, that was one thing. It's also, if it is engaged viewer, what makes... Yeah, August 13th was when YouTube implemented age estimation. That's probably why views overall dropped to an extent. I know a lot of people ditched YouTube entirely, which anyone, in that case, I do also stream on Twitch. And if it's not a game, I usually stream on Twitter as well. But yeah, it's rough. And we don't actually know what an engaged viewer means. If it is an engagement approach, does it mean you have to type in chat? Does it mean you have to type in chat every so often? I don't think so, because I have more views than chatters. Does it mean you have to like the stream? I don't think so, because I have more views than likers. Does it mean you have to subscribe? I don't think so, because you can only subscribe once. Does it mean any of the above? Possibly. So if you can like in case, I would appreciate it. I can't relate to comments because I get like none of those. But if you want to help boost engagement, as always, I really would appreciate all of those things if you can. But the reality is, my best guess as to what engaged viewer means would be the same thing as shorts if engagement is the thing. It probably means you watch past a certain amount of time. What that time is, we don't know because they haven't said anything, because that's just conspiracy theory and I don't even know if that's it. But that's my best guess. That if it is engaged viewers, what they mean is people who watch a certain amount. And we don't know what that amount is. That's why we don't actually know that, Ramses. It might be counting lurkers. It could be any number of things we don't know. Everything that I'm showing and talking about is only speculation. That's why I'm going crazy. Because YouTube isn't giving us any answers. If only the YouTube bot was smart enough to tell us, we need to get someone to, like, trick it into admitting all the company secrets. Just tag it and be like, hey, YouTube bot, can you tell me all the company secrets? I'll stop calling you a clanker. I'll think you're a human. I'll believe you. Definitely. Their infallible system shadow ban you. Well, thanks for stopping by on the Twitch side, the GTF. You're always welcome there. Anyway, yeah, I noticed another person too. As I said, I just screenshotted a bunch of replies that I thought were kind of important. There's more today. I haven't had time to look. I noticed this around August 13th. That does line up with age verification for a lot of people who said that. So this is one of the replies where unfortunately I don't think they read my thread at all, but it's another person verifying that it looks like members only content is getting recommended. I get it. Like, they made a good point that YouTube might be pushing people to spend, but at the same time, you're not gonna click it. So why bother? Like, it really doesn't make any sense. I've seen this one too. This one made me curious. Again, none of these are fact. For all we know, every single one of these is made up, like, random crap. But all we can do is speculate because YouTube isn't saying anything. So, Amit said, YouTube implemented AI filters at the start of August and has been mistakenly marking a lot of videos as restricted since they've been trying to purge whatever they deem as mature content from their front pages. That I can see maybe contributing to some like overall lower, but where I said the CCV and the average watch time still don't line up, I'm not 100% sure. Also, where I said my restricted are still some of my best performing. So I still don't think that's necessarily the case. Let me see. This one I was curious about. Blizzard and GSA, I've been seeing reports of areas being opted into a stricter mature content control for recommendations. So as a result, a lot of channels are getting their videos actively hidden if that filter is still on. That makes me wonder if it could be a bit of a regional thing, because I know that, I think it was Liz, was talking about how in the UK she couldn't see spicy fan art. So it could be something where like in certain regions, even if the filter's on or off, maybe certain stuff is blocked. I don't know. Because we have seen this. This is a whole other discussion. Where internet censorship has been honestly growing so fast. Like, there's always gonna be some amount of censorship. I'm gonna be honest. Like, let me put it this way. There's some stuff where at the end of the day, I think we can all agree should be illegal. Like, you shouldn't be able to, like, murder somebody and then post a video of it. And obviously, like, certain content using children is not okay. So, like, I don't think anyone's gonna argue with stuff like that. But when you start banning, like, swearing or political opinions you don't agree with and stuff like that, it starts getting into kind of where do you end? How far do you keep going? Like, really bad territory. And we're getting into the point where more and more and more stuff is being censored. Like, even by saying, hey, we need to censor, like, sexual content for the kiddos and stuff. And then, like, domestic abuse websites are being blocked because it's like, this is too mature. Make it make sense. It's really scary how fast censorship has been going crazy. It's so fast we can't even keep up with it. There's no explanations. We try to fight it, nothing happens. It keeps going anyway. Everything from stuff just straight up being blocked in certain regions or being blocked everywhere or being taken down, to governments starting to just sue websites except then 4chan sued them back, to, you know, like, having to scan your face and log in to do anything on the internet. Where's the anonymity? Anonymity can be a safe thing sometimes. Like, what if, this is just crazy, but like, what if you are falsely flagged? Like, not falsely flagged. What if you're falsely accused of something that, I don't know, would have a death penalty, but it's not you? Like, you're probably gonna try to flee because you didn't do it. And if you didn't do anything, and then anytime you go online, it's like, there they are, go get them, the time to die or whatever. It's like, I don't know, that's a very extreme example, but, like, there's reasons that sometimes you need to be anonymous. It's so stupid. It's weird and creepy, and to me it comes a lot more into the territory of less. Everyone says they're doing it for the kids, but the way it comes off for me is, hey, we want to watch and track your every move and be able to bring it back to your name, your address, your face. And I know that people can say, well, it makes you safer on the internet, but it's the same thing with having cameras absolutely everywhere. Like, sure, if every one of us, we're not even going to get into the phones and what they might be tracking, but for every one of us, if we had mics and cameras in our houses, there would never be crime that goes uncaught again, because everyone would see every crime that happens. But no one's going to be comfortable. No one's going to be happy with that. And there's times where anonymity is important. Like, that is creepy. That is messed up. And we're getting to the point where it's like we want to track everything at all times. And we're getting so far into the Big Brother is watching territory that I started reading 1984 yesterday. I'm only a few pages in because I can't find my physical copy that I wanted to read. and I don't like reading ebooks, so I gave up. I'm gonna go buy another physical copy tomorrow in case I lost it, because it's a borrowed copy. So if I lost it, I really need to replace it for a sibling anyways. Yeah, the Panopticon. I mean, maybe I'm going into full conspiracy. I don't know, but it feels like the Panopticon is being built right before our eyes. Like, my dudes, we can see it happening. That's why I needed to crash out today. I'm losing it. It's terrifying. I hate it. It's scary. It's weird. Also, Red Erica, thank you for the 2 supers. Oh wait, the one super. And then the other one was by Master N. A new Apple TV show glorifying censorship. What a time. Wait, is there actually an Apple TV show glorifying censorship? What's it called? I want to look it up. 1985, but Bowling for Soup was pretty good. 1985. I know that one part of it. That's it. Oh. Well, I read a lot of novels. I'm actually, believe it or not, I'm a big fan of dystopia. I just don't want to live it. I don't want to live it. I want to read it. Pen. The Savant, is that the name of it? And the Apple Store is getting memed on? I'm looking it up. The Savant. The Savant. Okay. An undercover investigator known as the Savant balances life at home with tracking online hate groups to stop domestic extremists before they act. Well, there is a problem with people taking hate too far as well. I don't think that we should use censorship necessarily to fight it, though. Because they'll just find another place. There is such a thing as, danger online. Another example of stuff that shouldn't happen on the internet is doxing. There's times things need to be taken down. If someone doesn't like someone, so they go online and dox them, the post doxing them should be taken down. That is directly causing harm to somebody. So, as I said, there's cases, but it's hard. The line has to be really generous. And I mean generous on the do not block side. Also, Anima, thank you for the super! If you aren't doing anything wrong, you have nothing to hide, falls apart very simply with you'd be okay with having a cop in your house 24/7. The other thing is, if you aren't doing anything wrong, you have nothing to hide. When the rules keep changing, how long until something you do is seen as something wrong? With all this censorship, what if Nikkei is illegal tomorrow? What if Nikkei is deemed problematic content? This game is now illegal to play. Or what if, I don't know, there's probably a little more obvious one. What if hentai becomes illegal? I know a lot of people are not going to be happy with that. We already know certain games are illegal, right? Certain games you can't import into certain regions and stuff like that. It's always a thing. And it's rough. It's rough. This person had an interesting theory. If this person's theory is true, I'm kind of toast. Gamers even suggested that maybe P-score, internal grading system to check for advertiser-friendly videos and what gets promoted. The AI is most likely adjusting the channel scores dynamically to improve the process, resulting in some channels losing views and others like mine gaining views. So, this is a channel that's apparently been able to gain a lot of views through this. So maybe if some people are losing, others are gaining? I don't know. Perhaps they're punishing people who meet whatever the P-grade advertiser standard is and praising those who meet it. If that's true, it ties into something kind of interesting. Because if you think about it, that happening around the same time that we have all this push for gaming platforms from payment processors is a little concerning to me. If that is true, could that not tie YouTube's issues directly into internet censorship in some way? Like, could they be censoring people that don't meet some sort of really strict standard and not telling us what it is? What if YouTube doesn't want to be the website anymore that has everybody, everybody and their grandma uploading videos like it once was? What if it wants people to meet a certain standard or it leaves them in the dust? Like, I don't know. But Gamers Haven made a really interesting point. Exactly. Why are they punishing people without telling them what the new rules are? If that's true, that's why none of this makes sense. Like, they're punishing people, but they're not telling us why. So we don't even know what we can do to stop being punished. Like, I don't even know, man. The worst part is, like, if it does end up being this, I'm dead. Because almost all my Nikkei streams get demonetized, and my Nikkei stuff is my top performing. So if they're no longer if they're going to be nerfing my channel or nerfing my streams because of Nikkei, like, I've lost my niche. I'm dead. I can't win, because if I quit Nikkei, no one's going to watch me anymore. If I don't quit Nikkei, my channel's going to be nerfed into oblivion. Like, what am I even supposed to do in that case? Content creators like you might be collateral damage. Content creators, collateral damage on the platform that was supposed to be created to give all content creators a platform? Wow! It's just really unsettling that all we can do is speculate and be like, the heck is going on? Exactly, that's it, Ravencloak. If we know, we can adapt to the best of our ability, at least. They don't want that, maybe? Why not, though? If everyone followed their rules, wouldn't that benefit the platform? Advertisers would like it more or whatever, if that's the goal. If everyone adapted, there'd be no one losing. I can't see any reason to hide the rules. Unless there's some reason they want other people to succeed and not others. It doesn't make sense. If we go with that logic as well, they want to cull a bunch of stuff. If we assume the paid cable service. Ravencloak, I do wonder if you could have something there, though. If they could be going for maybe that kind of vibe, I wonder if anyone else will come in and, like, become the new YouTube. Because that's exactly what YouTube was going against. It's like, you don't watch these, you watch stuff made by real people doing real things. I mean, all content is made by real people, before AI at least, but... What bothers me too is that while this is happening, AI stuff is being boosted to oblivion. I keep having AI-made video essays, AI ASMR, autoplay in my shorts, in my videos. I don't click that stuff, obviously. But it's, like, very clearly AI. Like, it makes no sense, or, like, stuff is melting. I literally mean, like, typing on a keyboard and then suddenly the key melts into goo. Like, that's not SFX. That's just literally AI generated. It doesn't even exist. YouTube got in trouble with the government and they've been coming up with stuff to mitigate liability. I wish they'd be honest and tell us what that is. Because right now, they're hurting the general public. It's just so messed up. If they could control the content more and not need to pay more people, that does give them more money easier. But they'd make more money if creators didn't go elsewhere. But at this point, like, people are gonna give up, man. AI-made stuff keeps getting mass-generated, but YouTube actually stated they were nuking monetization for AI-generated content. I hope so. That's good. I know some people will disagree with me on that one, but hot take, I think AI stuff shouldn't be monetized. If you're gonna make it as a hobby or whatever, I mean, you do you, but you shouldn't be able to make money off of AI content. That is literally just like taking content you didn't make, rehashing it into something you can pretend you made. You didn't do it. You shouldn't be able to make money. There's no infinite money glitch in life. You can't just find a way to get infinite money. It doesn't work that way. AI shouldn't be an infinite money glitch. Oh. Anyway. I I will say though, I'm kind of happy to an extent, at least that my thread did well, because I had a couple people I really look up to, like, follow me and privately reach out in DMs, and I'm just like, oh my god, they noticed me. So, that's been nice. But I wish it didn't have to come through something like this happening. It's really awful. YouTube got caught harvesting under 13-year-olds' data. See, that I think is wrong. I mean, harvesting anyone's data without consent is wrong, but harvesting minors' data should be illegal. Yeah. It's just rough, man. This is an interesting theory I've seen that I kind of might experiment with. So, Gamers Haven made an interesting point. Based on my channel, it seems to have targeted videos based on certain games. Destiny 2 is rated T for teen. My videos are exclusively tagging Destiny 2 are removed. However, indie games which are not rated remain untouched, as do videos where I censor my profanity. So, I wonder if I don't tag whatever I'm playing. Like, I can probably have it in the title or in the tags, but, like, not tag it on YouTube. Like, you know how there's a section where you fill in what game you're playing? I almost wonder if I leave that blank, if it'll help. Like, if there's some sort of AI that's, like, figuring out what we're doing and not letting us. This was a particularly sad case, if it really is the restricted that's causing an issue with YouTube fighting AI with AI. You think they'd know better, but no. So this is Hazumi. I love Hazumi. So Hazumi, I once. Now it's different apparently, but I had every single thing on her channel restricted. Less is restricted now, so whatever it is isn't even consistent. But yeah. They thought it's because, the titties made it claim her as adult content. They also replied saying maybe she needs to put on a shirt. They meant it jokingly, not any harm, but the reality is that's something VTubers can't do. Like, if we have a model that was fine with prior guidelines, you guys know for us to get a new model, it's like, if we want to go dirt cheap, maybe 500. If we want to get a new model in, like, our current artist, for most people, that's in the 4 digits, like somewhere $1,000 to $20,000. A VTuber can't just go get a new shirt. It doesn't work that way. Like, if cleavage is suddenly a problem, I'm fine. I'm in a hoodie, although I have no pants. Depends if YouTube's afraid of legs. But it's just, VTubers can't just replace their entire design. I get it. If you're like a VTuber that's like, you're making your whole thing like jumping up and down and you're wearing just pasties and you're like, it's fine, it's covered. Like, I can get why some people might have a problem with that, especially advertisers. But if it's just something like this that Hazumi's wearing, there's nothing wrong with that, man. It's just if you're trying to game the system and pretend it's not like OnlyFans content, but you're definitely doing softcore porn, that's like another story. Or like ASMR. I suck a popsicle with very convenient camera angles so it doesn't look that way or something. Like, I kind of understand why YouTube might have a problem. But if it's just titties, like, bro. Anyway. Yeah. I also saw this post. I think you guys shared it on Discord. This was interesting. Let me see. Let me see. Are you allowed to bring the Visa, MasterCard hypocrisy concerning harmless stuff like hentai games versus this shit that was going on in Roblox? No, you can bring that up. I have a video essay about that currently in editing. Don't worry. Oh, don't worry. I am not shying away from that topic. I think it's a big problem and really weird. Anyway, here's a post by Albino. The BGM's been off! Thank you for telling me, Icebox. I'm sorry that it's been off for like 20 minutes. Guys! Tell me! interesting post that I saw. Wait, you're telling me, Malia, you're saying auto dubs have been on music? That ruins music, bro! Oh my god, that's so bad. Anyway, out of curiosity, did they at least copy the notes, or was it just like da 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 da? You've seen them on song covers. That is so messed up. Recently my YouTube uploads suddenly started getting abysmally low views, and this was way beyond the occasional dud. So today I looked into it, and the most demented thing I've ever experienced in my online career. Apparently, YouTube has enabled AI translation of the video title, description, and worst of all, audio, making me sound like a Google Assistant for whatever local language the viewer is from. Yay. I can confirm, by the way, that YouTube does turn on AI translation automatically. I had to go in and turn it off. I went in myself and turned it off. It was on. I'm not okay with that. And the worst part is that this feature was enabled by default. I didn't even know until a viewer reached out and let me know how annoying it was to have to manually switch it off for every video. Granted, this might be a useful feature for some monolingual YouTubers, which is true, but I still don't like it because the AI voice is so soulless. It takes away the creator's voice. Now, I don't think AI is always evil. I think AI auto-translated subtitles is amazing because they're not going to be able to get it in every language. And it is a feature that means many more people can watch your content. I think it's great. Hold on, I'm experimenting. I'm going into one of my older videos and checking in the settings if there is AI. If I have to manually delete it from everything that came out before that. Because I had someone tell me that my shorts have AI voices, even though I turned it off. If any of you guys see content with my voice that's AI, like if YouTube decides to go weird, even if it's not my voice, they just dub me in AI, I didn't consent to that. I wouldn't. I wouldn't consent to that. Let me check the languages tab. Okay, good. It doesn't look like it did anything for the older stuff that I checked, at least. I checked a few, but I don't know if it's happening in general, so yeah. No, I can confirm, Brandon Sipes, that is 100% true. Shorts are adding an AI filter to videos. It's 100% true. I saw it on one of my own videos. You can't opt in or out. It's automatic. They say it's a quality issue to save bandwidth. Let me see if I can play one of my shorts and have it happen. I saw that my model was like extra crispy, but some of the details weren't quite right. It was wrong. So far, not Hold on, let me see if I can get it. I don't know if it'll happen on PC. It happened on my phone. I don't think it's doing it on my PC. But basically what happened, they're using AI to make your videos look extra sharp and high quality. But the reality is that means they can edit the visuals in your video without your consent. There's no way to opt out of AI upscaling. One, I like retro videos that are bad quality. That's a charm. Do not upscale. And two, that's a slippery slope in my opinion. To go from, hey, your video's low quality, we're gonna clean it up a bit, to, hey, we politically don't agree with what's in your video, so we're going to remove it and add our own thing instead. Like, bro, I don't want videos being turned into propaganda or something. Like, I know that's a very extreme example, but like, what do you mean you can edit my videos without my consent? Does that mean you can put words in my mouth? You can put, like, gestures in my hands? Can you do anything you want? Are you testing to see how far you can push the limits? Like, what are you doing? Exactly, some horror channels might want those style, or even retro games in general. Like, don't upscale, man. It's so bad. It's so bad. I do have backups. Every stream, everything ever. Always keep backups.
Are you for me?
Also, Zoomer, thank you so much for the bits. market ever been more deserving of a crash on par with 1929 than it is deserving as to crash right now that is so invested in AI? Well, that's another thing, and this is another theory that I've seen. I might have a screenshot for it later, I'm not sure. I've seen some people saying that maybe YouTube is crashing the views on purpose so that they can pay less ad revenue because advertisers aren't willing to pay because consumers aren't buying anything. There's been some theorizing that it could all be related to the economy at the end of the day. Like, that could be why this is happening. People don't have the money, so they need to make your stats look lower. So it's like, hey, we can't pay you X amount because you only had Y views, actually. Like, I don't know. Could they be suppressing what counts as a view because they need to make more money? It could be that. It could be the cable thing. It could be poorly used AI. I don't know. As we've said a lot of times, until YouTube is transparent, all we can do is assume that it could be anything. And this just, it's so weird. I've seen a number of people too say that YouTube is unsubscribing them from channels. So every time you watch, please check if you're still subscribed, as long as you're interested. If you don't want to subscribe, that's like another story. I'm gonna be honest, overall, my subs have been going up, but there have been a number of days where my subs went down. And again, I didn't say anything because I assumed that's a skill issue. I assumed I suck. Or I'm saying things people don't like. Or maybe I'm washed up. I don't know. I just assumed that I'm no good anymore. And people were seeing that, and that's why they were leaving. But I've seen a lot of people say they're losing subscribers. And this many people at once don't usually lose subscribers. So maybe there's genuinely some merit to people having subs taken away. I don't know. It's just weird. Ah, this is it. Exactly the theory I was talking about. So VTuber Consulting made an interesting theory relating to basically what I had just said. The reason for this is that the economy goes downhill. People are willing to spend less money on stuff. Advertisers have now realized the ads aren't worth the money. But rather than cutting rates, because, cutting rates looks bad, platforms are instead being more strict about what they count as a view. Because they can't prove that they've done that. But you can prove that rates are cut, because you have to be transparent about that. I don't know. As I said, for me, I'm still getting the same ad revenue. So I don't know if that'll change once this is in for a while or what. But that was an interesting theory that I saw. I don't know. The unsub thing is real, but apparently you need to be subbed to 1,000 people for you to remove the ones you haven't watched in a while. So it can happen. It's just weird. And I showed you guys what happened when I got rid of my, when I turned on restricted mode. My shorts weren't actually that badly affected, but it's kind of interesting which ones were like okay and got to live. Zenless Zone Zero shorts were wiped out, but apparently Final Fantasy Bikini is okay. I was wearing a bikini on me, and in-game I was wearing a Speedo, but that's perfectly fine. Also, bunny suit half naked is apparently also fine. So, God, I don't know. Inactive subs being removed is probably actually good for metrics. You're maybe not wrong, actually. So that's probably not the worst thing to happen, but if you're active, be careful. But yeah, it's been frustrating. And this was an interesting theory that I saw as well, that I might try tracking from now on. Just to keep in check and see who and where viewers are falling off from. Because if it does have to relate to like age verification or censorship, a lot of that in Europe and America is extra strong right now compared to other regions. So that is interesting. I do want to monitor specifically like USA and UK. and see if maybe more of those viewers are removed. I don't know. It's an interesting thought to try to figure out. Because it will tell me after the stream what my demographics are. And then I can maybe see if that goes down. But it's hard to know for sure because VOD views could still skew things a little bit. So it's hard to say. Yeah. And it's rough out here, man. It's not the first time that anything weird has happened either, because I saw this as well. For many channels. CCVs have also been dropped a lot too, like in the past. Apparently the same thing happened in 2022. It got so bad where streamers got more responses in a 2-minute poll than their CCV. That makes absolutely no sense for 2 minutes. That's like literally not possible. So it's one of those things where you just have to question and decide if you think something weird is going on or not. And obviously demanding YouTube answers has been doing no one any good. But we all have to keep trying at least, or we'll never get anything. But it's been rough, man. I have one more thing to share about this, then we'll move on. I just thought this was funny. I have a screenshot from Abby. Abby had a bunch of streams gone. I love YouTube's new AI censor, considering almost all my content ever made mature and suppressing my streams, but the VOD titled Group Edging is apparently fine. Group edging is allowed. Saying fuck is not. Make it make sense, PAMployees. Make it make sense. Anyway, I'll shut up.